Okay, we're at GoToMath.com, looking at some Julia programming. And this time on tutorial 2, we'll be looking at part 4. This should be the end of this tutorial 2. But we're running a simulation, and we're trying to find the average. Remember, we started off with a die. We're going to finish this thing with the roulette wheel. But we want to know, right? How many times of the spin of the roulette wheels are going to take to get at least every number to appear at least once? This time what we're going to do here is we're going to use a function. So we're going to wrap this up inside of a function, and so we can become just a little bit more versatile with this. All right, so as you can see here, those pound signs they comment. They're like a comment. You can comment. Everything to the right of that pound sign is the program doesn't read it. Okay, so we're going to call our function dice-e. I don't know, that's just what I called it. And our arguments are going to be a and b. Or sometimes people call those parameters. So we're running the trial 1,000 times, and we're gonna be a little bit more flexible here. We'll call that a. And if you're not sure what we're doing, it may become a little bit more clear. So a becomes really a variable inside the function. All right, and the other parameter is b. So remember, we started with a six-sided die. This time we'll call it b because, well, we might want to change that six-sided die to a 38-sided something or another. It just gives us more flexibility, right? Instead of going through the program every time and changing that, we'll be able to just change it as one of the arguments there inside the parentheses of the function there at the top. All right, so I think everything's been replaced. I do believe correctly. I'll know here in just a minute when we run this thing. Okay, so let's just hit the upward arrow key and there we go. All right, now this time what we'll need to do here, you notice that it just didn't come up with a number. We're going to have to bring up the function name, and we're going to run, we'll go ahead and run that dice 1,000 because we know pretty much what that's going to be. 6 trials. So remember, that was 1,000 experiments, 6-sided die, 14.7. Do it again. What are we getting? 14. Yes, we know that's been all set up correctly. Let's try 10,000. So this should converge to a little bit more accurate number. 14.81. I don't know. Let's add a couple more zeros there on the end of that, on that experience. So you can imagine we had to run that by hand. Now you notice it's taken some time this time, and Julia is a fast programming language. That's the reason I really like it. It's fast. Okay, this time we're going to switch over to the roulette table. Now you notice I got 38 here because there's 38 positions on the roulette wheel. Not all roulette wheels have 38, some have 37, but this particular one has a double odd 0 and a single 0. So we got 161.61, 160.485, so we can get a pretty good idea. Let me just bring this up so you know what I'm talking about. So you see there's 36, plus you got a 0 and a double 0. All right, you see that? Okay. All right, let's get back to business here. Okay. I don't know. Let's add another 0 onto that. Hit it. And 160.22. This thing actually converges. It's like 160.7, I believe it is, 160.7. But 160.7, right? So I was at the roulette wheel quickly here, and I was keeping track of all the numbers that were coming up. So I had all the numbers written out, and every time one would come up, I would put a little tally mark under it. And it got to the point after a couple hours where I'm trying to remember, but I believe it was the number 35. And I'm like, man, I'm going to start betting on 35. It hasn't come up forever. And there was other people at the table. They were seeing what I was doing. And before you know it, it seemed like seemed like a few spins after that or so, 35 came up. I collected some money, and so did some other people. But, you know,